Well, in week two of the course, we are beginning, of course, to talk about a specific issue: autopilot, autonomous vehicles, self-driving cars, and we're keeping in mind the ethical decision-making frameworks. Let's say that Kant and Mill offered to us, and we're looking at the issue, of course, on its own, but we're keeping those things in mind. I mean, how would Kant, or in Kantian ethics, how would we deal with autopilot? What would Kantian ethics think of autopilot? What would utilitarian ethics think of autopilot and self-driving cars? It's not a simple issue. As we'll see in these issues, there are different levels or different sides, let's say. I mean, on the one hand, it's probably incontestable at this point that self-driving cars are or soon will be safer in general than human piloted cars. So on the one hand, I suppose on a utilitarian basis, if we grant those premises, it's probably inescapable that a utilitarian would approve of them. I mean, if we can realistically anticipate that the number of injuries, fatalities, losses of life, and damages to human beings will be lessened with self-driving cars, with autopilot, then I suppose a simple application of the greatest happiness principle would approve of them. On the other hand, as we see with the idea of automated ethics, the moral machine experiment, there are some very difficult issues that we confront with self-driving cars, not as a general phenomenon, I suppose, but more in the particulars of when decision-making is put into this algorithmic sort of machine-based way, than life and death decisions regarding human beings, and very difficult decisions having to do with life and death, harm to a human being, is taken away from human judgment and put into a simple, computer program, and the fatefulness, perhaps, of putting those sort of decisions into the hands, so to speak, of machines. What is the idea of week two? Look at the readings, look at the video, but we're entering into some interesting territory already in terms of, we can perhaps get answers to the questions regarding the ethics of autopilot from utilitarianism, and perhaps from Kantianism too. I don't know if Kant would disapprove of it, but it may be that, for instance, the idea of a machine being in control of people's lives and health, it may be that it violates the second version of the categorical imperative. I'm not sure about that, but it's definitely, you can make a plausible argument. So we're already into perhaps some difficulties. I don't know. And of course, the fatefulness of taking the step of putting just this sort of decision into, again, metaphorically, the hands of machines. Machines don't have hands, obviously. Human beings have hands. That already we ask ourselves, okay, well, maybe it's the utilitarian way of thinking about it really favors autopilot, but it could also be true that we are stepping into a new realm, that we are maybe even sliding down a slippery slope towards something that maybe we wouldn't want. Week two, already quite interesting.